Welcome back to part 2 of Backpage Blues, where I am still delighted to be joined by Charlie, the Hurricane Skillen from the Daily Mail. Thank you for sticking with me.
That's all right.
We are now going to do...
very well in part 1.
Oh, thank you. Our debut's still going.
Yeah, I know.
We are now going to do a quick question fire round from your answers and questions on Twitter. We've picked a few.
Go on.
So... You don't know these, so
No.
we just picked from random, so
Okay.
I'm just going to fire them at you.
Okay, go on.
Right.
Scared now.
Yeah, sorry, but this is how we roll here. That's Rory's idea again.
Cheers, mate.
Number 1, Bert on Twitter says,
Right, yeah.
we are 8 points off 4th. Where do you think we will finish in the league?
I don't think 4th is completely out of the question.
It's not mathematically impossible.
No, winning the title is not mathematically impossible.
Well, okay. Let's try and be a little bit
No.
realistic. In terms of 4th spot, right? Spurs did it in 2011-2012 season, and they finished 4th with 69 points.
Yeah, and what happened? They didn't get in the Champions League.
Yeah, because
season.
I think, hold on, who
Hang
won
on.
the Champions League that season? I think they knocked them out. Okay, cool, yeah, that was us.
Yeah, after
cool. But this season, the points tally is a little bit lower, and you can still mathematically finish 4th with 62 points.
Yes, I think it's just that step too far. I think if we maybe had even one or two more wins under our belt, I'd be absolutely gunning for it. But I just think it's that step too far. I think Chelsea should be looking to finish top 6, and I think that's achievable. As for where we'll actually finish, I'm going to say sort of 8th.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you a question here. So, we've got Stoke this Saturday. Because we're on this run, you know, it's the first time we've been on the run of 3, we've won 3 Premier League games in a row now. First time that's happened since April of last year. So
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, great stat. So our attentions have slightly shifted. I don't know, as a Chelsea fan, I'm sure you'll understand that I slightly felt, league's done now, like, that's not important. It's all about focusing on the Champions League, focusing on the FA Cup. Let's play the youth in the league games now. Now we've started winning, it's almost like our hopes have slightly been shifted up again.
Yeah,
how important is it to play a full-strength team against Stoke?
Massively important, you know.
Even though you've got PSG on Wednesday?
Yeah, it's massively important. Chelsea can't rest players, and in fact, you know, that team needs as much preparation for Paris Saint-Germain as possible. And in fact, you know, it wasn't a fixture that people were picking out, you know, in the calendar, but Stoke are chasing a European spot as well. It's actually sort of, it's actually,
and they're above us.
Yeah, they're above us. It's quite an important game. You know, if Chelsea were to get 3 points, it says it's going to make huge strides to get towards getting European qualification. So
is
it
that
important.
a no to 4th spot from you?
Yes, I think so. I hope I'm wrong.
Me too. Question 2 from Didier Prince.
Right.
What's up with Ola Aina? Has he a future at the club, and will he be signing a contract or leaving?
Well, his contract is ending at the end of this season. Arsenal are well known to be interested in him. We've put that a lot of the Mail. He's a very attacking fullback. He's done wonders for the youth team. He actually trains with the first team all the time. I'd love to see him get a new contract. I think there's a bit of back and forth. I think he wants to see more scope for chances in the first team. He's obviously aware of the attention from Arsenal.
So his head's slightly been turned a little bit.
Yeah, you know, he can be picked up this summer. I'm hoping he'll still remain a Chelsea player, but it's a situation that's very much up in the air at the minute.
Okay. From Joe Pickering on Twitter, would you play Kennedy against PSG? And do you think Hazard wants to stay at Chelsea?
I wouldn't play Kennedy against PSG. I think it's just a step too far. I've been massively impressed with Kennedy this season. He
had to see him go off injured.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he might not even be fit, but you know, he had a couple of months out of the team after Christmas. But you know, obviously came back with an absolute bang against Norwich. I think it's just that step too far. And in fact, I think if the game needs that little injection of pace, a little bit of directness, I think it'd be good to come off the bench.
And yeah, do you think Hazard wants to stay at Chelsea?
Really should have asked him when we went for a pint yesterday, shouldn't
I?
Yeah. Everything we're hearing out of his camp is that he's ready to move on.
Disappointing.
He's willing to stay at Chelsea, but you know he's very much aware of Real Madrid's interest. He's him and Zinedine Zidane have a very good relationship. So I can definitely see him leaving Chelsea this summer.
So him coming out and saying, "Oh, my family's so happy in London, and I'm really happy here," is just talk.
I don't think it's just talk. That could well be true. I don't think he's going to leave for anywhere. And in fact, he's intimated that even though PSG are interested, that's not a club that he would leave Chelsea for. So
Okay.
so I don't think it's completely cut and dry. But I'm not convinced he'll be at Chelsea next year.
Okay, this is quite a long name. We've got CFC-UCL 2016 champs.
Ambitious.
Yeah, exactly. Is getting into the Europa League good for Chelsea or not?
Very good. Has to be.
Is it the only thing I think he's maybe luring towards is that could it be a distraction for next season?
It's a trophy. But, of course it's a distraction. I want to see Chelsea in European competition. Obviously, ideally that's the Champions League. Europa League is clearly not as a prestigious competition, but Chelsea have to be fighting on different fronts. If you win the Europa League, you get in the Champions League. I mean, hopefully Chelsea will be qualifying for the Champions League through league positions next year, but that might not be the case. We have to be going for everything we can. So definitely want to see Chelsea in the Europa League, if only for a load of good trips next year.
Okay. Next question from Chelsea Fan on Twitter. Just say it how it is.
Yep.
I like that. If you could put, I like this one. If you could put one Chelsea player on this channel for one video only, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
Good question, Chelsea Fan.
That is good.
I like that.
Is it past or present, or it's got to be a current player?
Let's go current.
Current, okay. Oh, I was going to say Ramirez, but he's left, isn't he?
Yeah, he went to China.
Yeah, terrible move. You know what? I was going to try and say something funny, but I'm not very funny. So I'm just going to say John Terry.
He was my player.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see him have a proper sort of sit-down interview. Talk about things that Chelsea fans want to know, and also obviously talk about his future. So I'm gonna say that.
Well, John Terry, if you ever watch this channel, which apparently you do,
he does. You've seen him hold the hold our.
So
CFC
come on this channel,
up,
be our one player, and give us that one video, and tell us what is going on at the club and where you may go if you are not sadly staying with us. Right, last question.
Go on.
And this is from Nice Guy Kenny on Twitter. Do we know this guy?
Yes,
okay.
Absolute legend.
Oh, right, okay.
Super Kenny Rice.
Why do you, Charlie, never watch two halves of a game in one spot?
Yeah, he mentioned this at Norwich. Well,
Honestly, I'm guessing this is like a private
yeah. And, well, obviously at away games everyone stands up and there's just space to move about. So I at Norwich I watched the first half up at the top and then I watched the second half down the bottom. I've got a lot of people to see, Ken. I've got to move around and
so
talk
it's like sort of networking,
social
networking.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got a lot of places to be, Ken. I can't sit next to you all the time.
Sorry, Ken. Right, well, that is it. Thank you so much for all your questions. Please comment below and let us know what you think of Charlie's answers. And
be nice.
Yeah, exactly. And hope to see you guys soon. Come on the Chels.
And we are going to preview the Chelsea-Stoke game coming up. Guys, I'm feeling full of reckless optimism at the moment where Chelsea are concerned.